I've used the Levitas Free Series, the 790 and the 900 for the last couple of weeks in winging, pair winging, downwinding, even tried pump foiling it. So how is that system? Does that suit an average rider like myself? Where are its limits? Let's find out.
Welcome to Matt on Foil.
The sponsor of the show should be though. Let's get into the Free Series of Levitaz, the foil that I got to test for the last couple of weeks. I used the 790 and the 900 of the Free Series, and when I first heard Levitaz I thought, well, this is going to be super expensive. In this video we're going to talk about price, about how it's built, how you put it together, and how it actually feels, which foil is for which situation or which kind of rider. But first, let's put together that system. And the first thing that you notice when putting together a Levitas setup, this thing is quality. Like, the mast feels super nice. The connections are impeccable. The fuselage, the titanium fuselage that is laminated into the front wing with no gap whatsoever. Then the system to put on the tail feels all very premium. Also, the fact that you can use one tool, a T30, to screw together your whole setup is amazing. Like at the mast, you have M8 screws with the T30 head, and the rest are all M6 screws, also with the T30 head. So this setup is all put together with one tool, which is nice. I usually kept my stuff in the mast cover, and let's talk about covers real quick because they feel very quality. They are attached with Velcro. Honestly, there were some issues, and I'm going to talk about like suggestions of what they can improve on later. But you know, in terms of saving your foils, in terms of covering your foils, these things work super well. Now, I used the 790 and the 900, and there's actually just one stab and tail that come with it. It's the 180 stab, which has 180 square centimeters of area, and the span is 39 centimeters, aspect ratio of 8.6, and you can see that the tail is laminated to the foil, which is really nice, very performance oriented, and the tail is actually quite thick. Like the connection, the stab is really bulky, but that screams stability, which we want, and we're going to talk about stability in a second. Once this thing is on the fuselage, it is a super streamlined connection, no little things standing out, which was really nice. I weighed both setups, and with the mast, with the screws and everything, the 790 comes in at 4.2 kilograms, and the bigger one, the 900, is 4.5 kilograms. So not super heavy, just like standard, I'd say. First impression of the Levitas foil. It's a higher aspect foil. Like on tracks, like it feels like you're going on tracks. Still maneuverable enough for my taste, and I'm not the super carver, you know that. I'm super scared if I fall because these things are super sharp. And even after some usage, the screws from the fuselage, they don't unscrew themselves, they sit super tightly, which is super important. Now with this setup, there's no way to shim anything, but honestly, I don't feel like shimming anyway. You could shim the mast theoretically, but you don't even need to shim it. Let's talk about how it feels on the water in a second. Just one last thing. When I put these things together and I wanted to take it out in the water, it felt like the mast, the trailing edge of the mast was incredibly sharp. Also the foils, I mean, yes, performance oriented, but you know, a bit on the sharp side for me. So Stan, who actually lent me this thing to review, he said it's fine, I could sand it a bit. And also the 790, he already sanded a bit. So, you know, either you go out with super sharp knives or you just dampen it a little bit, which I think is more important than having the ultimate performance. So I went out first with the 900. Because I was using an 827 span foil before, I thought, well, this is gonna be big. And yes, of course, I got on foil super easily. I used it winging and pair winging, and actually the low end was pretty good. Like if you had some pull from your sail, then you didn't need a lot of movement. It lifted you up. And as soon as you were on foil, actually, it felt locked in. Like these foils, both foils, they are incredibly stable. Maybe it is because of the tail that it tilts down. Maybe it is because of this V shape that you have with both foils. It was incredibly like being on tracks while being quite fast. And that was actually something that Stan told me before. The idea of this Levitas foil is comfort and also speed. And that's exactly what it is targeted to. These foils are comfortable. No twitchy feelings, no over-the-top turnability, but solid, nice, and really comfortable. So I went out with the 790. I got on foil easily without a lot of pumping necessary. As soon as the wing or the pair wing pulled me a bit, 2-3 pumps and I was up. And as soon as I was up on foil, I was locked in. The foil, the setup was easy to turn, not making too crazy carves, but like really comfortable turns while still being fast. Foot switches were easy with this setup. And you know, I'm not a tight turner, and these really let me finish those turns in comfort. I used the 790 once when I was downwinding, and honestly, I overestimated it a bit, like the low end especially if you want to pump and you need just pumping movement. These things are hard to pump. Maybe it's also because like the tail and the stab are pretty big and longish, like the pitch movement was hard to cater to. So you really need some speed, you need some power in the waves to keep it going. I use it with the 790 and I always try to find the low end of the 900, and I tried dock starting it, and honestly that was super difficult because getting a nice and short pitch movement is really hard. So in order to pump it, I like to go up and down, especially with these smaller foils. That was hard. If you have your speed from your pair wing, from your wing though, and you pump while being on speed, it is super easy. At Lake Silvaplana, I pumped the 790 and the 900 for quite a while collapsing the pair wing. So yes, you can pump them, but if you get super low on a bump while downwinding, then it's sometimes hard to get back on speed while you're looking for the next bump. All right, now where is the big difference between the 790 and the 900? Well, of course, area, right? But not only area. Like the 900 has a way bigger aspect ratio of, I think, almost 14, while the 790 has an aspect ratio of a little over 10. So that's quite a difference. Now, with the 900, you can still turn a bit. You cannot turn as tightly as with the 790, of course, but it gives you so much more glide. Like if you do a downwinder and you want to go straight, then the 900 is really nice, while the 790 is more to make tighter turns. Not super tight turns still, at least for myself, because the tail and the stab are quite big, but you know, it just gives you even more stability. If you're on a flat or flattish lake, the 900 is really nice. And if you want to go as fast as possible, honestly, the speed difference between the 900 and the 790 were not that big. So if you are a bigger person, or you maybe have a little wider board and you can turn more with your feet in off stance, then you can turn well with the 900 as well. So there are a few things that I would like to see improved. And some of them are details. Some of them actually, I think, like are important. Like first of all, the covers. The fuselage is not covered. And if you just bring your front wing, then there's a big silver titanium thing standing out, some sharpish edges, and not just you don't want to destroy your car, but you don't want to ding your titanium fuselage either, right? So a little cover over the fuselage would have been nice. Also for the mast, like the thing, the top plate is covered with an extra little cover, but this thing doesn't attach to the cover of the mast. So if you just held your mast at the cover and you had it upside down, then it actually slipped out. So you needed to hold it tightly, and I wasn't able to give it to someone else to hold because if they didn't know, they dropped it. So, you know, maybe a little improvement on the covers would be something. And then you pay enough for these foils, I think. Like a front wing is 1,200 euro-ish, including taxes. So, you know, if you buy these things, then, you know, an extra set of screws would be nice. Because after a while, you know, they get worn out, and finding new screws is actually a pain. So, you know, just add these 2 screws and you're good to go. Also, sometimes I drop them. And if you drop one of those screws, those are probably hard to find. Now, I get it. Levitas wants to make things easier, uncomplicated. Like, get your foil, maybe for your size, and then just add the tail and the stab. That make it as simple as possible, right? But actually, I don't know if it's my lack of skills, but having a little smaller stab, like a second option, that would have been nice. Maybe like a 100 or 120 area would make a huge difference. So I think simplicity is fine, but making it just one more option would have been nice. Of course, if you do that, then someone wants probably even another option, right? Now, who would I recommend Levitas foils to? Now, if you get into foiling, of course, you need bigger gear, but as soon as you have it a little bit and you just want to cruise it around on flat or flat-ish legs, I think the 790 and also the 900 are really cool. If you want to get into the waves a little more, the 790 or even the smaller ones would be better. The Levitas foils give you control, give you stability. So if you're looking for speed and also stability from your foil setup, then Levitas is gonna work for you. All right, that's been my take on the Free Series from Levitas. I can still use them a little bit more, so if you want to test them, hit me up at MattOnFoil on Instagram. If you like those independent and unbiased reviews, maybe buy me a cup of coffee. Link is in the description. Now, here is a video from other foils that I tested. Here's a whole playlist of reviews of wings, boards, para wings, and other foils. And actually, many of you are not subscribed yet. Please click the subscribe button down here because, you know, it helps me out a lot. All right, see you guys in the next one.